Hello, I'm Sheila and welcome to our Yin yoga practice. Today's practice will focus on our kidney meridian lines, and a mantra that I would suggest you use during this practice is a really lovely one, very centering, very grounding. I am as I am and things are as they are. Very simple, but I hope you enjoy the practice. Keep well, keep safe. Namaste. Just make sure you have your various creative props nearby, but we're going to start on our back, checking in with our spine and our breath and our body, and arrive. Take a few moments to arrive. So I'm going to come down, and if you have your soles of the feet on the floor, knees pointing up towards the sky, broadening your shoulders, tucking your chin in towards your chest, finding a little bit of movement, moving your head a little side to side, kind of unraveling your spine. So you might find you kind of roll the pelvis up and then allow it to flatten back down onto the earth. And then when you're ready, straightening your legs out along the mat. We'll lift our arms up over our head, interlinking our fingers and pressing out through the palms, out through the heels, creating a nice long stretch for the body. Releasing your arms back down. And just relaxing your arms out to the side, relaxing your legs. Coming into your breath, arriving onto the earth, into your body, into this moment, into your practice. We leave everything behind us, we leave all of that behind us. And we can let go of any worries, any fears, any doubts. Really allowing our breath to be our main focus here. So we draw a nice deep breath in through the nose. And exhaling, nice long smooth steady breath out. Inhaling, nice deep breath in. And exhaling, nice long smooth breath out. Lovely. Inhaling, nice smooth breath in. Noticing how that feels as the breath travels down through the body into the lungs. Allow the belly to lift up towards the sky. And then exhaling, we squeeze the breath out, drawing the belly back towards the spine. So we are creating a little bit of action there. As we inhale, nice long smooth breath in, all the way down into the belly. It's like we're really exaggerating that move, that opening, that creation of space. And then exhaling, squeezing the breath out, drawing the belly back towards the spine, emptying the lungs. And then one more like that, inhaling, feeling that sense of expansion, of positivity, of liveliness, of vitality being drawn into the body, into every single cell. And then exhaling, again drawing the belly back towards the spine, squeezing the breath out, and removing anything we don't need. And then we allow the breath to come back to its own natural rhythm now, so we're not having to be quite so involved. Allowing the breath to move nice and freely, smoothly. Just being aware of perhaps the connection that we can create from the mind into the breath and how that affects us. Where does it bring us to? We enter into this quiet practice, our yin practice, perhaps setting a dedication for what it is you need today. And then from there we're going to again create that stretch. So we're going to draw the legs together, lift our arms up over our heads, interlinking our fingers, pressing out through the palms, out through the heels. A nice stretch. And now from here we're going to create a twist. So we're going to bring, it depends now, I always like to give different options, but one option is you bring just your right knee in towards your chest, keep the left leg nice and straight, and then bring that knee over to the left. You can always place something underneath your knee here. The second option is to bring both knees in and take both knees over to the side. And again, you might like to have a little prop underneath your legs. Right arm reaches away. And the third option is to wrap that right leg around the left leg, called twisted roots, and then bring the knees over to the left. And you might notice that right shoulder comes up off the floor. So we kind of have to really dive into how this feels through the spine, how it affects the shoulder. Maybe you have something hanging in space. Left hand on top of your knee, and then right arm reaches away. So it's very important that you make this shape right for you, for your body, for your breath. And the breath is our guide. If the breath is short, then we maybe have gone too far. And we're not really in the arena of wanting to go too far in this practice. This is a practice about perhaps checking in with those edges, and rather than going 100%, maybe backing it up a bit, feeling like you're at the 80% mark. And then the right arm can reach out to the side, one option, or maybe reach a little back towards the back behind you. So if you lift your arm up as if you're going to touch the back wall behind you, again, just noticing how that feels through the right side of the body. There's a little lengthening, and then dropping into that space, into that twist. Coming into your breath. Allow this to be very nourishing. So beginning now to just notice how things feel. Has anything changed? Is there any kind of feeling of loosening or lengthening? What's actually sort of happening in the body, having been in this shape for this amount of time? Where has the mind gone to? And slowly, as we take our next breath in, we're going to come up and out of that shape. So bringing your knees or just your right knee, your body back to the center, drawing your right arm in, taking both feet to the floor, straightening everything up, just noticing how it feels through the right side, through the left side of the body. And then straightening your legs out along the mat. We're going to do a side banana asana shape here. So we're going to take the feet to the left, right arm up over the top, and create a nice length through the right side of the body. So again, not too much, try not to let that right hip come up off the floor. That right arm is now up and over the top of your head. The left hand holding your wrist. And of course you might find that you could take your right ankle over the top of the left ankle, maybe. Maybe that makes it just too much. We're always looking for that kind of Goldilocks feeling. Not too much and not too little. And the breath, again, our breath is our indicator. How does the breath feel? Can we feel all the different parts of the body touching the earth? Can we be present? Can we practice really with a sense of peace offering? Just being aware of how that feels around the right hip, lower back. There's a little bit of lengthening happening. And also, of course, the idea of this compression happening on the left side of the body. Taking a nice deep breath in now. And as you exhale, slowly start to come back to the center. So just noticing if that feels fragile, a little tender, interesting. Try not to move or shake it away too much. Just let your arms come back down beside you. Notice how the legs feel, how that feels through the right side of the body. Just taking a moment in that rebound, that sense of this echo of that stimulation really settling back down into the body. Noticing the difference between the left side and the right side. And we're going to make our twist now on the other side. So whichever option you went for, whether it was one knee, two knees, twisted roots, try and keep with the same shape on the other side. So if you needed something underneath your knees, taking that over to the right side of you, and then the knees come over to the right. And the left arm reaches away, looking maybe over your left arm, but just taking your time. We've got lots of time. Right hand can rest on top of the knee. Adds a little weight, of course. If you've got something that, like a version of a sandbag, you could place something on top of your leg there, but maybe the hand is enough. And then really allowing your breath to be nice and smooth and steady. Maybe counting your breath in to a count of 5 and exhaling to a count of 5. And then just checking where you've placed your arm. Maybe it's out to the side, maybe it's reaching up a little bit more. That adds just a tiny little extra kind of juiciness, length through the left side of the body. It stimulates the lungs and the heart meridian lines. But it's also enough to have it out to the side. So, make sure you're just doing enough. Enough is great here. And no pain. We don't want any pain anywhere. Anything sharp is not what we want. So we kind of back away from anything that feels sharp. Okay, so beginning now to take a nice deep breath into your body. Nice long smooth breath out. And like a nice signal to the body that we're going to move. And then slowly, if you have your arm up quite high, just start to lower that. Bring your head back into the center. Little bit by little bit we unravel. Slowly taking the knees back up to the center. Just noticing again how it feels to have the lower back and the spine nice and straight on the earth. Maybe a little broadening of your shoulders, a little shimmy. Try not to shake that feeling away. And then straightening your legs out along the mat. And we're going to come into our banana asana, where we take our legs over to the right now. Both legs, and we keep the left hip firm and on the floor. It's not lifting up. And that left arm comes up and over the top of our head, and gently take hold of that left wrist with your right hand. And we create kind of a very nice long, lovely kind of pull through the left side of the body. Again, not too much. We don't want it to be about our muscles working. We're trying to undo that muscle action and get underneath into the connective tissues to create a little bit of length and space, especially around our joints. So our hip joint here is getting quite a bit of space. Maybe the left ankle crosses over the top of the right ankle. Just making sure that, again, there's no pain anywhere. If you find you get pins and needles somewhere, just undo that shape. So beginning to take a nice deep breath in now. Again, just noticing if anything's changed, if anything feels different from how it felt at the beginning. And then we slowly start to undo that shape. So maybe the arms come down first, head comes back to the center, legs come back into the center. Just noticing again now how that feels through the left side and the right side of the body. And allowing that feeling, that sensation to settle back down, especially around the left side of your hip. Nice. Let's take both feet onto the earth. And we're going to come over onto one side and come up nice and slowly. We're going to take our time to come up to sit. And if you can, find maybe a little blanket or a rolled up blanket to sit on. We're going to come into big butterfly. So it's nice to sit up on something. And then taking your feet, soles of your feet together. But the feet are quite a bit away from us. So we're in a nice long legged butterfly, it's called. And then taking your time now, we kind of start with the chin in towards the chest, and then slowly we start to roll down, rounding our back. So there really is a rounding of the back here and a broadening across the shoulders, and then slowly coming forward. So without using your arms, we're not pulling ourselves forward, we're just allowing ourselves to gradually, slowly make our way into this forward fold where we really relax the shoulders. Our head is quite heavy, so just make sure it's okay for your neck. You can always, if you have things nearby that you could use to prop up, you have to get a little inventive. Use blankets and cushions for support maybe. Just noticing again, where are you feeling this? You could be feeling it in all sorts of different places. The inside of the legs, your hips, your lower back. Try and make it nice and even. But we want to drop in to that feeling. Give ourselves time, space, energy, love to explore. Okay, so just noticing now how you feel, how anything is. When we go exploring, there's so many possibilities, exploring the body, exploring the mind, exploring the breath, and how many times we're kind of drawing ourselves back in. But we do that really with so much kindness. You know, we don't want to berate ourselves if we've wandered off. Just the fact that we're noticing is our practice, is perfect. So beginning to take a nice deep breath in now. Nice long smooth breath out. And as we inhale, we're going to slowly make our way up. So really carefully, slowly, hands come onto maybe your legs or the floor or whatever prop you might have there. And you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly come up. So we're going to lift our heads up last. And when we move that slowly, we really get to feel how that feels through the spine, the whole spine, coming back, kind of knitting itself back together in a way. And then we're going to come off anything we may be sitting on, knees together. And then straighten the legs out in front. And let's take our hands behind us, a little lift of the chest. Again, this idea of a rebound. So we want to really soften, notice how that feels around all the joints. So we kind of may have felt it in our knees, hips, shoulders. So let's come up and onto our knees. We're going to give our toes a good little treat. So we're going to be on our hands and knees, tuck our toes under. Very good for the stomach and meridian line when we tuck our toes under. Very good for the actual bony structure of the feet and the toes, the soles of the feet. We want to sit on our heels. It can get quite intense quite quickly, so just noticing, breathing, doing the best that you can. Trying to stay steady, stay calm. As one of my teachers used to say in class, we can go from bliss to pissed and back again in quite a quick moment. So it's all this whole spectrum of all the different emotions we can experience. We can experience in a yin practice. And that's what we want to do, really. We're here to notice what happens, what comes up, what kind of arises for us. And just being aware of whether we can breathe or do we go into a bit of a panic. How does it feel into the lower legs, into the ankles even? Soles of the feet, around the toes. If there's too much heat, of course, come down. Let's take one more deep breath in. And exhaling. Nice long smooth breath out. And taking your hands forward. Unraveling your toes. Just slowly flattening your feet. Kind of like you're stretching, but soften. You don't need to move too much. Just noticing how that feels around your ankles. Lovely. And then if you can, sit back on your heels just to give the ankles that little extra bit of stretch now in the front of the ankles. Depends on your knees. If you need to, of course, you can always place something behind your knees. That might be a help. Prop everything up. Some of you might be able to lean back and lift your knees off the floor. Lift your knees off the floor. That might be possible. Not everything is possible for every person, so just do what is feeling good for you, for your ankles. It feels interesting. And then slowly lowering your knees back down. And let's come forward onto our belly for Sphinx pose. So elbows come underneath the shoulders. And now we want to really soften the hips and the legs. And do a little energetically climb into the heart space, the front of the body. So we're lengthening through the front of the body, a little squeeze for the lower back. And just noticing how that feels. You might want to slide your elbows a little further forward. Just checking in how that feels, the intensity of it. And we kind of do this in stages. So this might be exactly where you stay for the entire time. That's absolutely perfect. Some of you over time might feel that things change enough in the lower back that you can come up a little higher. But just watch when you do come up a little higher that you don't start clenching your glute muscles, your legs. You want everything to remain kind of unactive or inactive, really, the muscles. So if anybody feels that it would be nice to explore a little higher, maybe taking your hands out to the side, straightening the arms, but again, just watching them. The second that the glutes start to engage, then you've come up too high. So don't worry about coming up if that starts to happen. And slowly, everybody, let's make our way down onto our belly. So the elbows come out to the side. Slowly, slowly, slowly coming down. Nice. Let's take our hands underneath our shoulders and make our way up into a tabletop shape. Knees underneath your hips, hands underneath your shoulders, and just a little pull of the belly in towards the spine, just kind of so that you're nearly rounding your back, but not quite. Kind of under, but it's very minute. Like you're breathing into the back of the body. So from here, we're going to come into Caesar pose. So that involves sitting on your heels for a moment, but we're going to come into the leaning variation. So I'm going to see if I do it this way. And we're going to lean to the right first. So that involves taking your hips over to the right. So I'll try and mirror you. Hips over to the right. Now, if you want, you can place a blanket underneath that right hip. And then your left hand is on your left ankle. And we're going to drop the left shoulder towards the earth. Check in with your head. So what's happening is we're creating this very nice long length through the right side of the body, the neck, the shoulder, side body, and actually feeling that down into the lower back, into and around the hip. Just enough again. So this is a nice leaning Caesar pose. So, and we settle in again. So noticing how that feels, where you feel it. There's a sense of dropping that gravitational pull. So if you feel that you could move and enhance the experience of this particular shape, perhaps taking your right hand to your left shoulder, but really, if you make that change, please be aware of what does it change. Does it enhance your experience of this shape that you're in? If it's too much, then release your hand back down. Right. Creating these shapes really to create wellness in our body on all the levels, physical, emotional. Beginning to take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly releasing your hand from your shoulder, if it was there. And we're going to take our left hand to the side of our head. So rather than lifting your head up on its own, we're going to actually push our head back up nice and slowly. So really using that arm, that hand to slowly, slowly, slowly push your head back up. And when we do it slowly, we really get to feel the vertebra kind of coming back together again like that. It's like, should kind of feel fascinating. And then let's take our hands onto the floor in front of us. So again, we're coming into that tabletop shape. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. But just noticing how that feels through the side body, if it feels tender, a little fragile, not shaking anything away. And then ready to come down now onto the other side. So if you were sitting on something, just take that to the other side. So we're going to sit now to the right. I have to think what we did. Now we're sitting to the left. Sitting to the left. And then with our right hand onto our ankle, we start that process of leaning over to the right so that we create a nice, long, interesting shape through the left side of the body. So of course, I always find when we come into a move on the other side, it takes a little bit longer. We kind of don't really realize how much maybe space we created the first time we did this. And it just takes the body a few extra moments to kind of allow us to move into the shape on the other side. So just being patient. Just checking in with your neck. Like, have we got the chin tucked in, or is it kind of leaning? Are we looking up towards the sky? Can we kind of tuck it in a little bit so that it's not too much down, too much up? And we get a nice, interesting length through that neck, into the shoulder, down through the side body. So remembering that we're creating a compression now on the right side of the spine and a length through the left side of the spine. Sit bones moving down into the earth. Breath moving nice and evenly. Dropping into that space that's being created around your hips. Nice. So again, if you feel it would be nice for your body, maybe taking your left hand to your right shoulder kind of adds a little bit of extra weight. So we kind of drop a little bit more into gravity. Of course, that can feel a bit scary, a bit unnerving. If it's too much, then dropping your hand back down. Just being kind, being patient. And as we come back to the end now of this shape, taking a nice deep breath in, exhaling, releasing your hand back down to your legs. And we're going to take our right hand now to the side of our head and just very, very slowly, gradually, you might find there's a few clicks and clacks as you come back up, everything coming back into alignment. Slowly so slowly. And then when you're at the top, again coming into that tabletop shape where you have your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And again, it might feel like the most fragile you've kind of ever felt. Okay, so slowly now coming onto your back. And if you have a block, we're going to come into a pose called Golden Gate Bridge. So slowly kind of pressing down through the feet, slide your block underneath you, just really at the very base of the spine, at the sacrum. So there's no pinching in the lower back, right on that bony part of the hip, the spine. And then straightening your legs out along the mat. And there should be no need for any action in the legs here. The support is all coming through that block, so that we have a nice length through the front of the hip flexors. And it's important that we don't get too ambitious. We want to actually keep that block on its lowest level. We don't need to be any higher. There's enough going on. There's a nice arch in the back here, a length through the front of the body. Relaxing your shoulders. You could nudge the chin a little in towards the chest, and that way the thyroid gland does get a little bit of a massage. And now that lengthening through the front of the body. Softening, letting go, no muscles active. A really lovely mantra. I am as I am. Things are as they are. So from here we're going to bend our knees. Take the soles of the feet onto the floor slowly, kind of one leg at a time. And then a gentle push down through the feet so that you can slide your block out from underneath you. And then slowly allow the spine to come down, the hips to come down. Noticing again how that feels. So coming into Shavasana, you might like to place some blankets underneath your knees for a little support. You might like to place a blanket over the top. You might like to put your socks on, keep nice and warm, arms out to the side, palms facing up. Just allow your body to relax completely. Softening, letting go, being breathed, being allowing the earth to hold you, support you. And the energy to move around your body. Lovely. So beginning now to take a nice deep breath into your body. As you slowly start to move your fingers and your toes. A little movement into your wrists and your ankles. And when you're ready, drawing your legs together, lifting your arms up over your head, giving yourselves a nice stretch. Pressing out through the palms, out through the heels. Nice. And then drawing your knees in towards your body, giving your knees a nice hug. Rolling over onto your left side, curled into a ball. And then pressing down into the earth with your right hand. Slowly make your way up to a nice comfortable seated position. So you have freedom to have your legs straight, comfortable cross-leg position, whatever is right for you. Resting your hands on your knees, palms facing up. And it just allows us to notice the energy that we have maybe created in this space right in front of our hearts. What sort of peace offering have we created for ourselves? I'd like to share a little bit of a reading. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary. When you wake up, everything changes, and nothing changes. It's a secret hidden in the open that when fully here, we can find the extraordinary in the ordinary. Beauty is everywhere. What matters is in every small thing. What gives life beams below every surface. It is we who lose track of what matters, because the currents of life are jarring and even battering. Yet the miracle of life is always present. We are the ones who can't stay awake long enough to remember where we last saw it. This is one reason we need each other, to help us refind beauty and truth. This is why the mystic poet William Blake declares that you can see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wild flower. As all of life is encoded in a trace of DNA, the barest fragment we stumble on holds all the mystery, whether it's in the wing of a dragonfly resting on the water, or in a bit of glass ground on the curb. This is why the cry of one broken heart reveals the heartache carried throughout history, why the rare instant of peace reveals the well of all peace at the bottom of all souls. The many practices of living prepare us for this refinement of vision, so we can find what matters in what seems mundane. Again, another beautiful book by Mark Nepo, Things That Join the Sea and the Sky. So we'll draw our practice to a close with the sharing of 3 Ahms. Allow that to come from your heart, through your throat, to the tips of your lips, signifying really this lovely, this beautiful moment that everything we have in our lives, everything, our breath, everything, this class, this day, everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's the cycle. It's the cycle. So we take a nice deep breath into our body. Drawing our hands now in front of our hearts as we bow in gratitude, in thanks to our bodies and our breath and our minds and our hearts for serving us so well, doing such an amazing job. Om Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace to each and every one of you and beyond, to your loved ones and beyond into the world. Namaste, namaste, namaste.